Welcome to the Collector's Cast, everybody. Hey, Mike, how you doing today?
Hey, I'm good, Clint. We had a little bit of a break.
We did, yeah. According to that video that those two jamokes put up, we were out picking in the outer Mongolian regions of South America, which everybody knows that Mongolia is in North America. Anyway.
Well, anyways, it was
lots of good stuff out picking. This is one of my
did.
recent finds we just put up on the table. It's like we got to have something on the table. Today we're going to talk about not one particular item, but we're going to talk about a way to sell items is what we're going to talk about. And well, without further ado, should I just say what we're going to talk about?
Well, yes, go ahead.
Let's talk about starting your own auction. That's right. This is a subject, I'm going to say, Mike, that our listenership, viewership, whatever you want to call it, does have quite a few novice and beginning collectors and pickers in it. But I do know for a fact that when I'm out in circles at the flea market or at different antique stores running into other pickers, they're all watching, or a lot of them are watching this. So to the experienced picker or the experienced collector who's been doing this a long time, if you haven't ever run your own auction before, I guarantee you've said, wouldn't it be great if we had our own auction and we didn't have to pay all these fees? Because you and I used to say to each other
we used
all
to
the
say
time.
that all the time, and then
Then
lo
be
and
careful
behold,
what you wish for, because all of a sudden you're working twice as hard as you ever worked in your life.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's what we did. We talked about this in a previous episode. We started Clint the Collector Auctions, and it started off with a bang, actually. We've had 2 really good sales now. But what have we discovered? We'll get into the number side of it.
we have discovered for sure that, like many things that you see and you think, well, that would be fun and neat and cool, you don't realize just how much work there is in it.
We knew there'd be work.
We knew there'd be work,
But
but the depths of the steps, once you get into iCollector and the whole
Auction Flex and all the computerized
And we didn't
stuff.
realize we were going to have to use a computer.
Yeah, we had no idea that we were going to have to use technology, but that's the way it's all gone now. Since the pandemic, actually, most auctions, in fact, I can't think of one in the Lower Mainland or in BC anywhere that's live where people come in the room and put up their hands in person anymore. They've all gone to online.
Yeah, and you know, in some ways that's kind of sad, but you can see when running the auction now, you know, I can sure see why it's sort of the way to do it.
Oh yeah, it's definitely streamlined, but you know, there's always going to be people that remember the old way, and I'm one of them. I used to get excited. I'd have a hard time sleeping the night before an auction because I was so excited to get up and go the next day. Yeah. It was like Christmas or something. It was like going to the fair or something. I just loved it.
But now, after running 2 auctions now on your own.
Yes, I was involved with one for a short time a few years back. Yeah, 100%.
So now this
that wasn't
auction,
my baby though. That was kind of a helping a guy. Yeah. But this one is really. We make all the decisions, don't we?
Yeah, when I think of running a live auction, I think, holy smokes, the amount of people you'd have to help is one thing. The
big difference.
The staff would be the big thing, and it would just be a lot more headaches, parking, everything.
The room you need, the size of the room, and you know, though, having said all that, and I've been telling a lot of people, and you know this, that I still have a dream of bringing people back into the auction. And at first, we're going to learn how to do this one properly and get it up to the speed we want to get it to. That's what I should mention is this particular auction, Clint the Collector Auctions, is only collectibles and antiques. I'm really trying to stay out of the household type items. I mean, there are blurry lines, sure, and sometimes you got to take the odd extra thing, but I say no to a lot of stuff. I'm very, very picky.
Yeah, we're trying to make sure it stays at something that is a legitimate antique or a legitimate collectible.
Yeah, something that people actually want to put on their shelf and look at.
Yeah.
And you know, like I'd say things like, okay, I don't want any toasters. And then I get a toaster that looks like a stormtrooper's head and the toast comes out with the imperial symbol burned on it. Well, that's suddenly not just a toaster. That's a collectible. And we put it in our auction and it did sell.
Yeah,
had a couple people actually fight over it.
So what so far in starting the auction on iCollector, what so far has been the thing that surprised you the most?
Well, like again, you already alluded to the amount of work that goes into it is incredible. But a lot of that, I'm going to say a little proviso on that. That I think as we get more used to the kind of work we're doing to set this up, it's going to get smoother, obviously, when we know what we're doing a little more. But one of the biggest surprises is, boy, oh boy, the fact that I'm just going to come out here and call them flakes. People that sign up for auctions and bid and then don't pay or don't pick up their stuff. You know, please, people, whatever causes you to do this, don't do it. You are wasting everybody's time, and other people could have had those things, and you, for some reason, decided to bid them up, and I don't know if it was maybe up late one night with one too many wobbly pops or whatever, but I got a box of stuff over there with about $300 worth of stuff in it that I had to bring back here to the shop because the guy his credit card bounced, the one they had on file. We don't even get to vet the customers. The auction company, iCollector, that we run all our sales through, the computer company brings the customers in and you know, checks their credit card, charges them something to, or verifies it or whatever. So when we deal with them, they're very good in that they will take us then and blacklist that person for us and spread it right across iCollector. So if you're going to do that and not pay at any auction that's on that iCollector system, your name will go out immediately. You'll get blacklisted. And then if you try to bid at any other auction, it comes up as a flag. And as we've seen, that's been very helpful because in the sales already, we had people come up that they tried to bid and they were flagged, and I looked them up and 39 other auctions blacklisted the person for not picking up and not paying. Well, forget it. They're out of here. And we don't want to play games. We want a good, honest show where people bid with the knowledge that they're going to pay for it and they're going to take it.
You know what surprised me?
What?
On the auction? What surprised me is the amount of effort that goes into, like, you know, you have an item, say this item that we have sitting in front of us, this Wyandotte truck, for the people who are on listening only. And then, you know, you have to set that thing up. You have to take, you know, 3 or 4 really good photos of it that really show what it really is, because you don't want to misrepresent the product, right?
No, you want to take as many good quality close-ups as you can.
The amount of time that takes. Now, you just think if you have 300 or 400 lots, people, and you have to take pictures of each one, and then do a description of them and add them into the iCollector system, into the auction system. With
the multitude of pictures, I really want to end up with one on each item when we really get cooking here. You know, a 400 lot sale is going to, you know, constitute taking a couple thousand pictures. So yeah, definitely a lot of work. And then the descriptions too. You want to be able to describe accurately any flaws that are obvious, you know, that you want to point them out. Hey, by the way, it's missing a windshield or whatever it's you know, wrong with it. And you know, so the descriptions, the pictures are so important. And there are some auctions, I will say, that don't do that as well as others, and some that do it better than others. And the ones that don't do as well, it looks lazy, it looks poor, it looks like they're not taking the time. And I don't want to be that kind of show. I want to make sure that everything is really well presented, well represented. Yeah.
And the other part of it, that because now it's an online auction, so you have people bidding from all over the country or North America. The shipping after.
Oh, the shipping. There's been a surprise at how much shipping
there's been a surprise.
I did not realize, and I would say, what has it been? Probably 70% or 75%.
70% of the stuff we ship out
is getting wrapped up and shipped.
Right, and it's just not a matter of throwing something in a box or an envelope.
You got to make sure it survives.
You have to have some type of shipping skills and packing skills, so the items are safe.
Yeah.
And that was another thing that surprised me, the amount of effort that went into the shipping.
And there's still service required just for people coming in to pick up their stuff. You still have to go find all their items, make sure you're not giving them somebody else's item by mistake, which when you're in a room full of hundreds of things, it's easy to do. And he's just smiling and laughing at me because I did it twice in the same day. And that's when I was told I was no longer allowed to help customers at the counter.
But you know what's
I do the picking and the selling, but there's other things I'm not allowed to do.
Bad too, is that when you've already boxed up about 30 items, packaged them up, they're ready to go, and then you realize that you've packaged an item in the wrong box, and you have no idea what box it is.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
it happened.
Oh, no.
I found it on the third box.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't even hear that story.
Yeah. Well, you don't need to know everything.
Well, dude, that kind of... for some reason, that reminded me of a story when I was a kid with a paper route. And one day, I don't know why, I just was daydreaming, started looking at birds, whistling, and I rode like half the route without delivering any papers. All of a sudden, I'm like, what am I doing? I'm supposed to be delivering papers. You know, just a brain fade or whatever. I was 9 or something.
Yeah.
And then I turned around. But I couldn't remember the last house I delivered a paper to, so I'm sneaking around in people's, like this guy wants it around the back porch. I look, oh, okay, that one's there next, you know, until I find where I stopped delivering the bloody things.
Wow.
Yeah, but so I guess the point we're making here is that, yeah, we always said, hey, wouldn't it be great, we're buying at all these auctions, if we didn't have to pay the fees, or when we were selling surplus stuff that we just didn't want anymore, let's go throw it in you know, the Mad Picker auction if it was nice enough for him, or one of the other auctions if it was less quality or whatever. And we always thought, man, if we just got to get all the money and collect all the fees, it'd be so great. But wow, just like everything, be careful what you wish for, because
and
it's
also,
work.
Yeah, and we did think too that when the consigning part of it, you know, you're thinking, whoa, people are bringing these items to us. You know, you're getting money from the buyer and from the seller.
Yeah.
And you're not having to put out any money for the inventory, but in theory, it seems like it should be a win-win. And I guess it is, but it is a lot of work, and it's not.
Well, on what you just said there, it's got me thinking. Now, when I first started I bought an existing business that had some roots here and a little bit of credibility going for it already, and people knew the location or whatever. So I bought that, so I already had it kind of front-loaded with some customers. But when you start your own from scratch and you've got no consignments coming in, what you really should start with is a room kind of like I have here in the Big Shop of Wonders, because you're going to need a lot of stuff to run through that. And unless you're willing to go out and buy it yourself somewhere, you got to do some serious picking.
And you were fortunate as well that the person that kind of decided to stay on in the auction knows the system, knows the computer system.
Huge bonus. When Kenna, I'll mention her name, she used to have her own auction business at one time, and she worked for the one that I bought out. And then it was only a temporary thing. She was supposed to teach us how to use the computers. And then she realized we were monkeys. And no, but she, after a while, saw that we really were working hard and trying. And she said, yeah, I'll stick around and help you guys. You know, because
thank you, Kenna.
Yeah. And so that's another thing. There is a lot more to that computer system than I figured. I figured a couple of guys like me and you could figure it out. And we're still sitting there trying to spin the Rubik's Cube into the right colors.
Yeah, well, like you said, I'm still trying to figure out how they get 5,000 songs inside one phone.
Nobody knows for sure. It's a mystery. But yeah, so there's that, and there's and we didn't talk about the percentage that iCollector charges you a percentage of your sale, 3% to run all that stuff through. I think that's a pretty standard number. I think most auctions are there.
And then there's advertising costs.
Oh, yeah.
You know that.
You want to run a couple email blasts or run an ad in the paper. For those who still read papers, I don't know. But
yeah, and just the labor of the two gals that are doing the computer stuff, of getting those notices out to everyone on the mailing list.
Office supplies. We print over 300 labels every sale, stickers that we got to print every time, and then printing all those invoices to go on the packages and wrapping materials. What do we spend in cardboard and tape and you know, it's got a lot of costs. So sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, just so we stay on our thing of collecting. But here's the thing that I've learned through this too, is that auctions are still a great place to get great deals.
Oh, absolutely. And particularly one that's just getting off the ground. There's lots of great deals to be had, as we've seen. Yeah. Because when you only have 40 bidders online versus some of the big boys that have a couple thousand bidding live, you know, you're just not going to get the bids. So some of the items are going to get overlooked, and some people are going to get excellent deals. Absolutely, they have. But you also, I've heard it said to me by an owner of another auction that you got to let people get good deals. They got to get some, otherwise they won't come back.
That's right. And again, like you said right off the bat, this is no reserve. So if something is on there and it should sell for $250, but nobody bids, and then someone bids $10, they get it for $10.
It's happened. Well, it does happen like that. Absolutely. Typically something worth a couple $100 usually gets 20 or 30, but no, it's just, I guess what we're trying to say here to all you collectors who think you could just take over that side of the business, just like we did. We thought, we'll just take over that side and we'll own our own. Well, be prepared to invest some time.
And money.
Definitely money. But because the consignments aren't going to come right away. So what you end up doing, and that was another surprise to me, now the surprises are coming as I start talking about it, was that I didn't have as many consignments as I thought. Even though I was established, I was a new guy. People didn't have the faith maybe. So I think I only had 2 or 3 consigners the first one. Same with the second one. So a lot of it has been augmented by my own personal stuff. But the plus side to that for me is that, yes, as the auction, I get to make the percentages on top of it. So, it's a good thing that way to move my stuff.
And you get to get rid of a lot of stuff. You got too much stuff.
Yeah, I do have a lot of stuff. And it's a good way to move inventory you're kind of tired of looking at. The one thing, I think this is true of a lot of collectors, is even if you get a big pile of cool stuff together, eventually you do get tired of looking at certain things. And you want to change it up. And then you're out and you see that beautiful new thing that you don't know what the next thing you love is until you see it, but there it is. And it's a Cucamonga whatever. And you go, I want that, but I don't have a spot for it. The totem pole has to go or whatever, So you got to flip inventory over. Even as a collector, you turn things over.
This next auction coming up.
Yes. February
27th.
Yes.
A bunch of my stuff out of my office is going to be in there because I've decided that I want to change the theme of my office and change things around. And I've been told in my household that I have too much stuff in my office.
You've been told that. I've heard you've been told that.
You've heard it.
But so I'm just thinking Mike's office stuff. There's probably going to be a lava lamp and maybe a nautical, some kind of nautical pen holder maybe. Yeah. I have no idea. I guess I'll see it when you bring it to the.
There was I had sitting on my desk. I had a bolt, and I said to my lady, I said, "Here, I'm going to auction this off." And she just gave me a weird look. And she goes, "That's not even a thing. That's just something you put there." So,
or are you just doing it to mess with her? Because I would probably turn away a bolt. I'm just telling you. If I turn away a toaster, I turn away a bolt.
See, I'm willing to get rid of a few things.
Oh, yeah. No, you got to be. But, yeah, so the thing to remember, though, is specialize. If you're going to do the kind of thing that we're doing where it's only collectibles and antiques, boy, you got to have some inventory to run through it.
Yeah, and also, just going back to the thing about the shipping, right, is that you have to also be conscious of, when the people that are bidding, of course, but shipping items, like sometimes you'll have an item that's maybe only, the size of a loaf of bread and weighs 2 pounds or a pound and a half or half a loaf of bread. But the shipping charge may be $20, and maybe the item only sold for $25. So shipping is
something to be wary of.
Shipping is the thing
especially
to be wary
on the
of.
bigger items too. Now, having said that, though, if you see something you really like, because that's what we got to remember, we're dealing in some stuff that is one of one, and you don't see it anywhere.
It's
not a common item, so people will want it regardless. And the previous owners of the auction did not want to ship a lot of the bigger stuff. Well, because I have my own auto wrecking business, and you and I have been used to shipping whole pickup boxes and half a cab and stuff to Nova Scotia. We've done all sorts of crazy giant pallets. We're saying we'll ship anything in the auction, but be prepared to pay for it. Pallets aren't free, crates aren't free, nails and labor is not free. We'll do it, but if it's something you love enough.
I noticed in the first 2 auctions, your first 2 auctions here, you were very conscious of saying to people, "Hey, remember, just be aware that shipping of this, right?"
So when it is a bigger item, Yeah, we sold that big carousel in the last sale, and I thought, boy, I hope we don't have to build a crate for that. But fortunately, it was picked up locally.
Yeah.
But hey, we would have just had to charge for the time. But yeah, it's really interesting. All these things we're seeing, that we're learning a lot right off the bat. But what I was going to go back to as well is, if you're wanting to do this and you still think, well, I still want to do this, but I don't have a huge warehouse full of stuff yet. I don't quite have the inventory. Well, if you just put up a general auction and then do some collectibles, like some places are like that, they're a little bit of both. You'll still get the collectible buyers, but you'll still get the world beating a path to your door, because there's a lot of people who want to get rid of crap. And I get it coming to my door too, and unfortunately I have to turn them away and take only the good stuff, because that's the way my business model is designed. But if you're willing to take some of that crap and sit there and auction through, toasters and microwaves and whatever other household items, you're not going to make the kind of money on the stuff, but it does move in certain markets. And if you're in a smaller town especially, people look for deals on everything. And you're going to have a very narrow market of high-end collectors in a small town. Whereas here, we are fortunate enough to be in a big population center, being just outside of Vancouver. We've got all the people to feed the auction. So that's another thing that comes into play.
So what we have learned is definitely it's exciting too, because you don't know what's going to come through that door to be consigned.
Yep.
And every auction is different. I mean, it's not the same old. It's not like you're selling a widget out the door, Every
different.
Yeah.
Last auction, we had a bunch of old antique tools and stuff that we didn't have in the first auction. It's like, what's going to be next? Well, now I know what's going to be next. I just got a load of those ornery Italian little wooden carvings with moving parts. Anybody know what ornery is out there? I just learned they're little wine stoppers, these ones, with you pull a lever and the guy tips his hat, or he plays a little violin or something, and they're just super cool. But, just to say something I'd never heard of, and now it's coming in because I've got an auction business.
The problem with this, too, is that it makes you want to buy all the stuff, too.
I will say for the listenership that Mike is fast becoming one of our better customers. No, of course, as an employees of the auction, anybody can bid on this stuff. It's all secret too. And I will reiterate that I didn't know this before, but on this iCollector system, when you put higher absentee bids on your stuff, when people do that in my auction, I can't see what those bids are. I don't know that secretly the guy's willing to go an extra $100. I just can't see that. It's not information that I get to look at. So go ahead and jack your bids up to wherever you want, and you will guaranteed only pay the next increment past the highest bidder, and that's it. Because I can't jack anybody up. I have no idea. It's tough running an honest show too. We're really that's the other thing. We're really trying to let people know that. There's all sorts of tricks over the years that have been done in some auctions, running guys up, bouncing bids off nobody, off the back wall, and pretending somebody's bidding against you.
Yeah, we have no time for that.
I've got no time for games or dishonesty. I like to sleep at night. I like to run an honest show and an honest game and have everybody go away feeling happy or reasonably happy, and
And it's a lot of fun.
It's so much fun.
The end result is it's a lot of fun, and you meet a lot of nice people. Like when people come in to pick up their stuff, the next day, man, and they're excited.
Well, they're happy to get their treasure.
Oh,
so
they're just
already in a good mood. Yeah. And I just love doing I've always loved, because my old buddy Ted Lyon, who was one of our first guests ever on the show, taught me to do the old, let go, hit about 45.50. That's my favorite part of the auction. Always has been. I always wanted to go as a kid to listen to the auctioneer. So I get to do that now, and I get to pick more. And I will warn you, people that are thinking of starting your own auction, you think you're busy going around looking for stuff now. I'm picking a lot more because I have to feed the big hungry furnace with coal.
I've booted him out the door a few times.
Yeah, we're
Go
having
pick
him.
some
He comes
stuff.
over for coffee, and then shouldn't he be out finding stuff?
Go pick some stuff.
Okay. So it's really been a learning experience, but a fun one, a good one.
Yep.
And hopefully the people that are thinking out there, boy, I'd like to do that, have a real good long thought before they do it. And hopefully you got a lot of energy.
Oh, and sorry for interrupting you, pal. I want to say to people is like, get on your computer, your phone, get on your device, and go on iCollector and sign up on iCollector, and you will see the dozens and dozens and dozens of auctions there are there. And even if you're not bidding on all these auctions, you can cruise through all their stuff and window shop what's
see
out
what
there.
Stuff's going for, see what current bids are at. Absolutely. Yeah, be careful when you go an collector and start surfing around on random auctions. Don't bid because you might be bidding on something in Florida or something you don't know. Everybody in North America is in there. Actually, they're around the world. I've seen places in Spain and in Europe for sure. So anyway, it's a
lot of fun,
site.
just like as if we don't spend enough time on our phone and computer, but there's lots of stuff to see.
But you know what? So yeah, that's what it is to run an auction, or a little piece of it. We're not going to go just yet though, because we have to come back and do show us your stuff and a trivia question too.
Yeah, we'll be back in a minute.
Let's take a short little break and we'll be right back after this. Thank you. Welcome back, everybody. Hey, it's time for that new feature we got. Remember, what do we call it? Show us your
stuff.
Stuff, that's right.
Stuff.
It is show us your stuff. We at one time talked about calling it show us your junk, and then the pictures that started rolling in. No, we didn't call it that for that obvious reason. So today on Show Us Your Stuff, we're going to have a magical, I always say, there it is up in the air, but it's kind of down here usually. It's down in front of us. So, there it is. Look at that. She put the picture there. Thanks. It's a picture from Rick Stewart's Steampunk Museum. What the heck are we looking at there, Mike?
It's a whole bunch of stuff that looks medieval and mechanical and like it came out of a Buck Rogers.
Yeah, it's crazy. And you know what?
Yeah.
Just all around his basement is just more and more of that. And I love it. You look at it and you don't know really what you're looking at, but it's cool.
Yeah.
You look at all those machines and everything. It's like, what does that do? What does that do? But just a whole lot of brass and wood and always old materials,
A few of them could be time machines.
They could be. Yeah. We don't know for sure.
I'm
it's
sure
one of them kind of looks like, remember Dr. Peabody? Was that the Dr. Peabody way back machine?
There may be an electric chair in there as well.
Mr. Peabody way. Oh, electric chair.
Yeah.
You and I have talked about doing that, making an electric chair.
Yeah.
Out of take an old dentist chair or something and make it wired up and make it look like a cool electric chair. Would be a neat decorator piece. But then, remember we had...
Don't say it.
Well, no, we had a children's dentist chair, an antique one. And I said maybe we could use it for executing, I don't know, midget murderers or kids that get convicted as adults. I don't know. Anyway, I'm getting the signal of stop that. Okay.
All right. Rick Stewart stuff.
Yes.
Fantastic steampunk collection.
And did you know this? Well, you did know this, but I'll tell the listenership that I am currently in negotiations. It's not a done deal yet, but he might sell that entire basement full of stuff all at once, sell his entire collection to me to sell in the auction and start fresh. And if we get all that in the auction, boy, we're going to have a heck of a crazy sale.
How about his pickup truck that he came down in? What was that, a 51 Chev?
That was a GMC, like a 1-ton, wasn't it?
Yeah, like a 51.
But it sure looked good with my old... remember the red Indian motorcycle replica used to sit here on the set? Well, it's now in Rick's hands. But that's a great thing. If I buy out the museum, I get the bike back with it.
Wow.
So I just might have to. Well, you and I are going to make a trip over there. We're going to shoot a little handheld footage too. So we'll hopefully be able to bring you some of that exciting that trip when we go over to Vancouver Island and visit Mr. Stewart in person. And
so, Mr. Stewart, thank you for showing us
your stuff, and we're coming to get it all. We're coming to get it soon. He's an interesting guy with a lot of neat stuff and an interesting life too.
Yeah, and he's got a cool eye for stuff, eh?
Yes, and he's always got cool cars going on. No, he's definitely one of my longtime better friends when it comes to collecting and all that. So yeah, that's Rick's stuff. And boy, we came into this thing talking about auctions. One thing we haven't done yet is our trivia question. And I thought about it. Now, this is something we talked about on another episode, but this was not a question. It came up during trivia. We talked about it, and I'll see if you remember.
All right.
What country in the world has backwards auctions? They start at high numbers, and they end up down to the lowest number is what the price ends up being.
What a ridiculous concept, but okay.
It could have only been come up with by the.
I don't want to offend anyone. The French.
No, It's not French. It's not France. France, you're off the hook. As far as I know, France does their
The
auctions
British?
lowest to high. You're kind of in the right area of the world. I will say you're on the right continent.
The Scottish.
No.
Well, I've pretty much covered.
Okay, I'll give you the biggest hint there is. These auctions, one of the main things that they sell from highest to lowest. So I'm thinking it must be the seller that waits and waits and waits and agrees to do it for that, because the buyer, why would they bid lower? Like, that just doesn't even work. Anyway, one of the things, you'll get this as soon as I tell you what they sell. Tulips. Come on, man. You drive through Rosedale all the time. Who has tulips?
Dutch.
The Dutch, yes.
The Dutch.
It's the Netherlands.
The Netherlands.
The Netherlands
Whoa.
has backwards auctions. They're a backwards folk.
I just can't wrap my head around it, but I believe you.
We've got a lot of Dutch people around here. We kid the Dutch, but they're our friends too. Anyway, yeah, that's the trivia. The Dutch have backwards auctions. There you go. I think we've talked about running your own auction. If anybody out there still wants to start their own auction after this, boy, I think they got guts of steel.
Go ahead.
Brave. Yeah, go ahead. Call us and let us know how it's going in a few months. And we'll commiserate with you. We'll all cry in our coffee.
And remember, show us your stuff. Send us pictures of your stuff.
Yeah, feedback
Love
at
seeing it.
thecollectorscast.com. Feedback at thecollectorscast.com. Show us your stuff. Send us pictures. We want to see what you got.
All right.
I think on that note, this has been the Collectors Cast. He's been Mike. I've been Clint. Good night.
See you next time.